Is that a great way to make an entrance or what? My name is Andy Anderson, and along with Infinite Skills, we're going to talk about two things that are near and dear to this guy's heart. One of those is homemade pecan pie. Maybe three things. Photoshop. Been using Photoshop for over 20 years. Hate to admit that, but I have. And photo restoration. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what these lessons are all about. Now, if you've ever watched anything I've ever done for Infinite Skills, you may have seen me in front of this fireplace before. Have you noticed the old photos over here and the old photos over here? I love working in photo restoration. My family has a lot of old photos, but I was actually surprised when I found out my wife, Bonnie, her family has more old photos than my family. I love working on them because I love history and I love seeing images. I don't just like to restore them. I like to actually know something about the photograph. That's just me. I love history. We are going to look at how Photoshop restores images. Now, I will tell you and admit that I have been restoring images long before Photoshop came out to the actual physical products themselves, working with water-soluble colors and all kinds of things. Photoshop does that differently, but I can bring the experience of those years of doing it manually and how we would do the same things in Photoshop and make it a whole lot easier. We're going to use what's called non-destructive editing in most cases. But we're going to talk about scanning, the best way to scan, because photographs are continuous tone images. How do we get them into Photoshop? What about the resolutions, all that kind of stuff? What about if you tear a photograph up in a fit of pique and you go, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that. Oops, there's no undo in life, is there? I'm afraid not, but there is in Photoshop. You might be surprised how easy it is to take a ripped photo and put it back together, and I am going to show you how to do that. What about, I don't know, images that fade with color? What about contrast that needs to be brought back into that image? There are so many things about restoration that are just so cool to work in. That's what this class is all about. It's restoring images, but there are two words I use, restoration and manipulation. I actually have a whole chapter devoted to those two things. Let's start with manipulation. Let's go to the dark side first. Well, there's a good and bad side to this. The bad side to manipulation, you work for a tabloid. They give you a photo of, I don't know, some rock star, and you are assigned to make that image look embarrassing by manipulating the image. That's bad, Andy. Shouldn't do that, Andy. Bad stuff. Good manipulation. You're given a photo that was taken 75 years ago by your great-great-grandfather. And you say, I don't, if I had taken that photograph, I wouldn't have taken it with that thing in it. I would have taken that thing out, or I would have added this. To me, that's good manipulation because you're trying to take a photo and make it better, but it is manipulation. So what's restoration? Restoration is taking a photograph, whether you like what's in it or not, and restoring it to the way it looked exactly on the day it was taken. That's restoration. We're going to restore, we're going to manipulate, we're going to have some fun, but in the end, I think you're going to have a better comprehension and a better love for restoration working it through Adobe Photoshop. So I've said enough. It's time to go. That pecan pie thing kind of got me, and I've got one actually over in the kitchen. I might try a slice, but I'll have to beam over there, so I'm out of here. Beam me up, Scotty.